Today, we're going to solve systems of equations by using elimination. Elimination using addition and subtraction. The first step is to write the system so like terms are aligned. X above x, y above y. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add or subtract the equations. In doing so, you're eliminating one variable. So you add or subtract to eliminate a variable. You've eliminated x or you've eliminated y, then you solve for the other. So if you've eliminated x, solve for y. Once you have y, you substitute that value from step 2 into the equation to solve for x. Alright? So that's the steps. So write this. We have 4x plus 6y equals 32 and 3x minus 6y equals 3. Now what we're going to do, our step 1 was to line up like terms. That's already been done. X is over x, y is over y. The constants are over each other. My step here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these. Okay? In doing so, if you notice, I eliminate y. Because 4x plus 3x is 7x. 6 plus negative 6 cancel each other out. 32 plus 3 is 35. What you have to know is you have to go back to this symbol every time. So 4x plus 3x, 6 plus negative 6, 32 plus 3. Okay? It's not that important when we're doing that addition, but when this is a minus sign, you have to keep coming back to it. Okay? So 7x equals 35. So I solve for x. I've eliminated y, so I solve for x. X equals 5. So now what I do is I substitute 5 for x. It doesn't matter which one I want to do it to. To be honest, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do the top one. So 4 times 5 plus 6y equals 32. And solve for y. I know my x. I'm going to solve for my y. I know these two lines cross at 5 on the x. I need to know where they cross on the y. So 20 plus 6y equals 32. I subtract 20 both sides. 6y equals 12. So I divide by 6. Y is 2. So now I know my ordered pair, 5, 2. That's where it crosses. My first step is to get the variables lined up to where I can add or subtract. In this case, are they lined up here? No, so I need to rearrange them. I'm going to flip the top one. I'm going to make 3x first, make 4y next. And then I have that. So I don't need this one. I have everything I need now, right?
You just change their spot?
Yes, that's all you do. Because if you were to try and do 4y plus 3x, would that make any sense? No. Or I mean, so you line up the variables over each other. So now I've got a line. I can add these. I do 3x plus 3x and get 6x. I do negative 4y plus 4y, which cancels each other out. Now I do 14 plus 22, which gives me 36. I know 6x equals 36, so I solve for x because I've eliminated y. 36 divided by 6 is 6. What I do is I plug that into one of these equations. Now what I want to do, I plug it into this equation or this one, the original two equations, just in case you did something wrong here. All right. So I like this one. This one looks good. So 3 times 6 minus 4y is equal to 14. 18 minus 4y is equal to 14. Subtract 14 on both sides. Or 18, sorry. Negative 4y is equal to negative 4. Divide by negative 4. Y is positive 1. So there's your ordered pair, 6, 1. Write this down. What it wants you to do is translate. Translate two equations. Translate a system and then solve for it. Alright, so this is what they give you. They say write and solve a system of equations. Negative 3 times one number plus 5 times another number is negative 11. 3 times the first number plus 7 times the other number is negative 1. Find the number. So 3 times one number. We're going to call the first number x. So negative 3 times one number. So we're going to say negative 3x. Plus 5 times another number. The other number we're going to call y. So 5y. We know is equals negative 11. 3 times the first number. So 3x. Plus 7 the second number. That's y. It's equal to negative 1. So you should have this. Negative 3x plus 5 equals negative 11. Over 3x plus 7y equals negative 1. So we add these. The x's cancel itself out. 5 plus 7 is 12y. Equals negative 12. Divide by 12. Y equals negative 1. Now what I do is I substitute negative 1 for y in either equation. It does not matter. They both cross the y-axis. They both touch negative 1 on the y. So we got to find the x where they cross.
You put negative 12, Coach.
So I'm going to plug negative 1 in the top one because it doesn't matter where. Negative 3x plus negative 5, because 5 times negative 1 is negative 5, equals negative 11. I'm going to add 5. So I get negative 3x equals negative 6. Divide by negative 3. X equals positive 2. So there's your ordered pair, 2, negative 1. 2t plus 5r equals 6. And then 9r plus 2t equals 22 on bottom. I need to get the variables lined up. It doesn't matter if I have t on the left or t on the right. Does not matter. I like to switch the top one. So I'm going to put 5r first. And put 2t next. And then 6. And that eliminates the top one. I do that just because it's easier for me to write it out. If I tried to switch the bottom one, then I'd have to write them both out. And I don't want to do that. So I have 5r plus 2t equals 6. Now if I added these like we've done through every problem, would I eliminate a variable? No, because 9 plus 5 is 14 and 2 plus 2 is 4. So instead, what do? We subtract. This is where I'm talking about. You have to go back to the sign every time. Anytime you do the operation, you have to go back to this sign. 9 minus 5 is 4. 2 minus 2 cancel each other out. And then you have to do 22 minus 6. Which is 16. The most common mistake I see is people will do 9 minus 5 and then do 2 plus 2 and 22 plus 6. They'll forget about this sign. Do not forget about this sign. And if this is negative, 22 minus negative 6, the minus negative becomes positive. That's another common mistake. So always go back to the sign. If you have to, you can do this. You've already made 5 negative, you make 2 negative, and you make 6 negative. And then you line it up. 9 minus 5, 2 minus 2, 22 minus 6. If you have to do that. Or you can just remember you go back to this sign every time.
So if it's...
So I solve for r. Divide by 4. Because I was timesing by 4, r must be 4. So what I do is I plug 4, I substitute 4 for r. It doesn't matter which equation. I'm going to do the top one where it was 2t plus 5r, which we're going to say 4 is r, equals 6. 2t plus 20 equals 6. I subtract 20. 2t is equal to negative 14. Divide by 2. T equals negative 7. There's your two answers. 4, negative 7.
So, Coach,
Here's your homework assignment.